And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Folks, today I'm taking a preview look at a game called Exodus. Exodus is a space exploration, extermination, learning about technology. We call these the 4X games, and this is certainly one of them. It is a game that takes about 3 hours, which is something that's pretty impressive because games like this usually take much longer than that. Now, does that mean that the gameplay is not quite as good? Actually, no, it does not. This is a very well-designed game. Let me show you a little bit of how the game works, and then we'll come back. There's a lot of pieces in this game. There's a lot of things going on. And so let's start out by reminding you that this is a preview of the game. So while the components might look very good, this is still a prototype. The components are not finalized. Nothing is completely done. So just take a look at the game as it is. This is not the whole game. This is just part of it. This is the board that's going to be in the middle of the table for all players. And this is one of the player boards that you're going to have here. You're going to be building a map at the beginning of the game. This map is going to be made up of homeworld planets. This is the yellow's homeworld, and it will be made up of other planets that will be either red or green or blue. Each of these planets provides a certain type of resource and is also worth a certain number of victory points at the end of the game. I'm going to start by talking about victory points first. What you're trying to do in this game is get the most victory points, which are kept track up here. And at the end of the game, you're going to get victory points for every planet where you have population cubes on, and you grow your population through cloning. You also will get victory points for every hex where you have spaceships in, especially the center space station, which will be worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. During the game, you'll be blowing up enemy ships, hopefully, and each of those that you blow up will be giving you victory points. If you're the Chancellor at the end of the game, you'll get victory points, and also you'll be destroying resistance spaceships, basically neutral spaceships during the course of the game, and you'll be getting victory points for them also. All right, let's take a look at ships. Ships are really cool. You have 4 different ships, 2 of each ship, and each of these ships has a blueprint here. Now, this blueprint, you can see here that there's some engines in these spaceships, but as the game progresses and as you increase your technology, you'll be able to upgrade these engines to better engines, and some of the ships have rooms for even bigger and stronger engines in them. You also have room to put guns in them, like here's a gun that does 2 damage, until you get to the really big guns that can do 5 dice worth of damage. And then finally, there are triangle areas on the side where you will be able to add shields over the course of the game. You start out by being able to get these shields that will prevent 1 damage, but then we have shields for 2 damage and shields with 3 damage, and you'll be increasing and adding those to spaceships, and as you can see, you can add multiple shields to make your ship more powerful. Essentially, you can customize each of your 4 ships any way you want, but you're going to have to research technology. Now, the way this game works is in different rounds, and in each round there is a mining phase. And in the mining phase, you're going to be taking resources off the planets, 1 off of each planet, and you'll be changing some of these resources, the blue ones, into money. Money is used for many different things in the game. One of these blue resources off a planet changes to 5 CP, which is the currency of this game, while the red is used for building spaceship, and the green resource is used for building upgrades on spaceships. Each player is then going to vote on a political agenda that's going to happen. You're going to turn over 3 cards from this political area, and you're going to pick one of these things to come into effect. Maybe it's a law that will remain in effect for the end of the game. Maybe you can see all the ones I've turned over here are laws. Sometimes it's a resolution, which will be just for 1 round. Sometimes an executive decision, which is just something that happens instantaneously. And each player is going to vote, and they will vote by picking one of the letters of the law that they want to vote for, and they can also add money to their hand, and the one that gets the most votes comes into effect, and this will change the course of the game. Players will also be voting during this phase on who gets what turn order and who is going to be the Chancellor, who breaks ties, and the Vice Chancellor. Now, the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, they go first and second, but they also have other abilities involved in the game, and those abilities involve bonus actions. And we're going to come back to bonus actions in a bit. Let's talk about actions. Each turn of the game, there's 2 actions that players will be taking. They have a handful of action cards that they'll be playing, and they will take one of these action cards and play it, and everyone will turn them over at the same time, and you will do the top action of each action card. So if I played this action card, my action would be mining, or research, or trade, or build ships, or buy upgrades, or banking. Everybody else then, after everyone has taken their action, you can take your secondary action on the card. That will cost you a population cube off of your planet, and your planet only produces 2 population every turn. That's how much you can clone. Or you can pay to use someone else's action, secondary action on their card, but that will cost you 2 cubes. So you can take multiple actions as long as you have enough cubes to do so. Then everyone will play a second different action card, take the top action, and then possibly another what they're called reaction. And then there's a bonus action that everyone gets to take. And there's a pile of bonus action cards. What is the bonus action? Well, the Vice Chancellor is going to look through all the bonus action cards. He's going to pick 2 of them, give them to the Chancellor, and the Chancellor will pick which of these actions is the bonus action that everybody gets. Or he can pick none of them too, if he's a jerk. Now, let's talk about the different actions. One of the actions is research. And in research, there's all different important things that will happen over the course of the game. This is how you get different upgrades to your spaceships. This is how you will have special abilities that you can use over the course of the game, and ways to increase your actions and make them better. When you take one of these technologies, you simply will pay the cost of the technology, which is for example here, it's 7 CP, to pay for that technology. You can build any technology you want. However, once you build a technology in a column, all the rest of the technologies in that column cost 1 less. So the more technologies you build of the same type, the cheaper they're going to become overall. And so you'll be able to try and pick and choose. You won't be able to build all the technologies, but hopefully the ones that will help you out best. Other actions that you can take. There's banking. Banking is just a way to get more money. You simply roll 1 die and that's how much money you get. Of course, you can upgrade it to advanced banking on the board, which will let you roll 2 dice. Buy upgrades. That's how you buy upgrades and put them on your spaceships. Build ships, where you can pay the resources you need to put ships out. Trade. When you trade, you go here, you pick which number of players. Let's say you're playing a 4-player game, and you will go here, and the first person to pick trade can trade money in for the red and green resources 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. Unless you have advanced trade, then you get to use even better ratios. And then mining, which will allow you to put more resources on your planets that you already control. After everyone has taken all these actions, you will then be moving your spaceships around, and there's 2 movements every turn. So when you move from one planet to another on the map, you're going to take a number and put it by each spaceship. You will then turn that number over, and that shows what direction your spaceship's going to go. Now, you have some tokens that are blank, so your spaceships might not move at all. If your spaceships go into a spot where there's enemy spaceships, whether they are neutral spaceships or your opponent's spaceships, then there will be a fight. Fights are very simple. You're just simply going to roll 6-sided dice equal to the number of guns you have, and if you roll 5s and 6s, those are hits. Players will take a certain amount of hits. Once the hits exceed the number of shields that a player has on their ship, then those ships are destroyed. Now, there will be neutral ships that are floating around the board at the beginning of the game. When you destroy one of these neutral spaceships, you will take the card. The card will give you an immediate benefit that you can get. Like this one here gives you a free technology, expert cloning, which gives you an extra cube on your home planet every turn. Or you can keep it to the end of the game for 1.5 points. So you have to decide right away whether you're going to take the instant benefit or keep that card for points at the end of the game. The game takes place over a set number of turns. You can see there's 7 turns here, although you can play more turns if you like a longer game. And at the end of those turns, whoever has the most points is the winner. You have to use the technologies, the spaceships, attack other players. There's also a variant to the game where you can give each player a special ability card, something that they can do once during the game, something that the other players can't do. There's also a few other things to the game I like. One, there's weapons of mass destruction. There are missiles that you can build on your planet that you can launch against other planets that will destroy resources, destroy population, or even destroy the whole planet. They're sometimes tricky to get these things fired off, but they can do damage. They're expensive, but they can be pretty impressive. And so that's essentially how the game works. Let's go to the end. Everybody who I showed Exodus to and who I played the game with was very happy with how the game worked. Everyone liked the technology part where you got to build basically any technologies you wanted, but the choices were so vast, but it was very simple, easy. This technology lets me roll 2 dice when I'm mining. This technology, lets me buy these guns. This technology lets me use someone else's action for 1 less cube. There was all different actions and all of them are good. There was one action that lets you play 3 action cards in your turn. There's an action that gives you the best shields in the game, and so you're having a hard time deciding which ones to pick. But you don't have to worry about a technology tree. It's all right there on the board. Building the ships, you don't have a lot of ships, but your ships are customized to exactly how you want them. And your ships that carry cubes from one planet to another planet, they aren't just sitting ducks either. You can really load them up with shields, maybe not with guns, but you can put some guns on them, and then you can have lighter, faster ships. There's all different variations, and the movement is pretty interesting because movement is all simultaneous. So instead of saying you move there while I move here, everyone puts down all their tokens, you turn them over, and all the ships move, and then battles occur. The battle is fast, it's simple, it's easy. There are multiple ways to get points, and the game encourages combat. You can't just sit back and turtle in your area because you might get some points for that, but you're going to get points every time you destroy an opponent's ship. So that's something that people want to do. I very much enjoyed this game. Everyone called it Twilight Imperium Light because while it offered almost the same feeling as Twilight Imperium, it was in a much shorter playtime, and that was with everybody learning rules. Once we would play it more and more, the game would increase, in speed and intensity. So a lot of fun. Look for this one. It's going to come out very soon on Indiegogo. Exodus.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.